You don't realize it's happening, not because you're careless or unaware, but because the system shaping your brain works quietly in the background, constant enough to be effective yet subtle enough to remain unnoticed. Every single day, something is influencing what you want, what you avoid, how long you can focus, and even how patient you feel, without ever asking for your permission. And the most dangerous part of this process is not that it controls you openly, but that it never feels like control at all. It feels like choice. You believe you're scrolling because you want to relax. You assume you're distracted because you're tired. You tell yourself you're unmotivated because something must be wrong with you. But what if none of those explanations are actually true? What if your brain isn't broken, damaged, or deficient in any meaningful way? What if it's simply being trained slowly and consistently by the environment you're immersed in every day? Modern life doesn't dominate you through force or restriction. It shapes you through rhythm, repetition, and subtle psychological conditioning. Short bursts of stimulation arrive one after another. Novelty never fully runs out. Anticipation stays alive while satisfaction never quite settles. And once your brain adapts to that rhythm, something important begins to change. Stillness starts to feel uncomfortable, almost unnatural. Depth feels boring, even when it once felt meaningful. Silence begins to feel slightly threatening, as if something is missing. This shift is not an accident, and it isn't a personal flaw. Your brain evolved to stay alert to what might matter next, to what could be rewarding, and to what might signal danger. That ancient survival system is now being fed continuously, without pause or resolution. Notifications interrupt your thoughts. Infinite feeds remove natural stopping points. Algorithms quietly decide what deserves your attention next. This isn't just about technology or habits. It's about psychology at its deepest level. Most people believe dopamine is the chemical responsible for pleasure, happiness, or enjoyment, but that belief oversimplifies what dopamine actually does. Dopamine is released in anticipation of a reward, not after it has been received, and that difference changes everything. It's the signal that tells your brain to lean forward, to stay alert, to keep watching, and to check one more time just in case something new appears. This signal once guided survival, helping humans seek food, safety, and connection. Today it guides attention. Your brain doesn't constantly evaluate whether something is meaningful, nourishing, or valuable in the long term. It asks a much simpler and more powerful question. Is this new? And when novelty becomes endless, attention becomes fragmented. Each time you switch tasks, glance at a screen, or respond to a notification, your brain pays a small cost that you rarely notice in the moment. Over time, those costs accumulate. Focus becomes fragile, patience becomes rare, and boredom becomes increasingly difficult to tolerate. This is where the darker pattern emerges. You are not addicted to pleasure itself. You are addicted to relief. Relief from boredom. Relief from silence. Relief from being left alone with your own thoughts for too long. That relief is brief and incomplete, but it interrupts discomfort just enough to feel necessary. So you check again, you scroll again, you look for the next small burst of stimulation, not because it truly satisfies you, but because it postpones discomfort. Gradually, your brain recalibrates its expectations. What once felt engaging begins to feel dull. What once felt meaningful starts to feel slow. What once held your attention now struggles to compete. In response, you increase the input without fully realizing what you're doing. More content, more noise, more layers of distraction placed on top of each other. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you lose the ability to stay with a single thought long enough for it to deepen, mature, or transform into insight. At this point, many people turn toward discipline and self-control. They tell themselves to try harder, to be stricter, to force focus and productivity through sheer effort. But willpower consistently fails here for a simple reason. You are not fighting a habit. You are pushing against an environment that has carefully learned how your brain works, what captures your attention, and what keeps you slightly unsatisfied. An environment optimized to keep you restless, alert, and searching for the next thing. Trying to out-discipline that system is like trying to outrun gravity using determination alone. The issue is not that you lack control. The issue is that your nervous system adapted. And adaptation is powerful. But adaptation is not permanent. What adapts can adapt again. Your brain is not broken. It learned a pattern, and patterns can change, not through force or suppression, but through awareness of the mechanism shaping them. Noticing what captures your attention. Noticing how quickly you escape boredom. Noticing how rarely you allow your mind to remain still. That observation is not weakness. It's information. And once the mechanism becomes visible, it begins to lose its power over you. You stop blaming yourself for struggling inside a system designed to keep you slightly distracted and slightly dissatisfied. That clarity creates space, not for instant transformation, not for dramatic overnight change, but for something far more important: choice. Real choice doesn't come from consuming more stimulation or chasing more productivity. It comes from understanding what your attention is responding to and why. Awareness doesn't fix everything immediately, but it changes the direction you're moving in. And direction matters more than speed when it comes to long-term change. If this video caused you to see your habits, your focus, or your distractions differently, that awareness alone already places you ahead of most people. Psychology Decoded exists to make invisible systems visible, to reveal the hidden psychological structures shaping human behavior before we turn that confusion inward. Not to scare you, not manipulate you with fear or urgency, but to help you see clearly in a world that quietly benefits from keeping you distracted. If that kind of clarity matters to you, support the channel by subscribing and liking the video, not for productivity, but for understanding, because clarity is the beginning of real freedom.